Hello, this is Mark Denham, radio presenter, audio producer, voiceover artist, and podcaster. And today on the audio journey, we're going to look at a very powerful effect, the speech volume leveler, and also we'll use that to highlight the importance of getting effects in the right order. Now, you may remember so far we have worked with this voiceover, which I've gone back to the unprocessed version of, very, very quiet and not processed.
Flawless tunes, flawless mixes. You're listening to DJ Flawless.
So that's the original voiceover that we work with. Now I've got another one here.
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording. And this is a very loud recording.
And there you go. That's extreme. But every now and then you may have to work with, if you're producing, or if you're producing a podcast or a voiceover, a jingle, a commercial, you may have to work with different voiceovers who work at and record at different levels. So let's have a little look here. What we can do. What we'll do is we'll drag this into a session here in the multi-track, and we'll drag in the speech volume leveler file here.
This is a recording at normal volume.
Watch the peaks, around -6 there.
This is a quiet recording.
Around -20.
And this is a very loud recording.
And just shy of clipping at 0 dB. So a massive range there. And if you were trying to get all of that into one commercial, let's say, or if your podcast guests are all at different levels, then there is one easy effect that you can use, and it's under amplitude and compression and speech volume leveler. Now, those are the default settings. Your target volume is -12 dB. Your leveling amount is 100%. So that means how much can it actually level the audio? How much difference can it make to the level of the audio? And the target dynamic range, of the audio, if we go back to here just for a second, the dynamic range is the difference between the loudest point and the quietest point. So the loudest point of this bit here is up there, and then the quietest part's down here. That's the dynamic range, the difference in the highest and lowest decibel level in the recording. If we go back into the multi-track, 45 allows for a bit of dynamic range. You could perhaps go down all the way to 30, and that's going to level it up even more harshly, or you could go to 80, which is going to allow more dynamic range in the speech. It depends on what you're producing. If it's a podcast, then these settings are far too harsh. But you're going to need that target dynamic range higher. If you're producing a commercial, then just going with the default settings here will be fine. And you can see if we play this now.
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording. And this is a very loud recording.
Now, you'll see the problem there. This here has been recorded with noise in. Why is that a problem? Well, because when I play it with the speech volume leveler off,
this is a recording at normal volume.
This has been recorded with a small desktop fan near the microphone to get this background noise, okay? So if we play it with the speech volume leveler on, the amount of leveling has also sucked up the fan in the background, and you can hear that.
This is a recording at normal volume.
So you can hear why it's important now to have the effects in the right order. If we go into here and we have a little look here with the fan noise, you can see here that we have fan noise here, which you can't hear there. But then if we normalize that, let me just show you what I did there rather than just hitting the hotkey effects, amplitude and compression, normalized to -1 dB. And normalize that. There is noise there. That's the fan. That's the fan normalized. So that's an awful lot of background noise there, and we don't want that background noise. Absolutely not. So let me undo that, and I'll show you now how we counteract that in the multi-track session. Now, obviously, if you were recording something, you wouldn't record deliberately with a fan on blowing at the microphone, because that would just be silly. But what we do is we go into the amplitude statistics window, we scan the selection, we find out the loudest is -49 49.77. So what we can then do, knowing now that the loudest is minus 49.77, is we'll move the speech volume leveler down in the chain, and then what we'll do is we'll go in and we'll apply a noise gate at minus 49. So there, now we should have eradicated that background noise.
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording. And this is a very loud recording.
And that's fine. That's absolutely fine now. And that is the importance of knowing what effects go in what order. You would never ever record, like I've done there, with a fan deliberately pointing at the microphone. So what you've done, though, is you have counteracted that. And that's the importance of the order of effects in your rack. You do your restoration first. So anything such as a noise gate, a downward expander will come first. Then you go on to your equalization. We haven't put any in here, but we will do in a moment. You go on to your equalization then, and then once you've done that, you can do any sort of effects that you want to do. Maybe a bit of chorus, bit of flanger, anything like that can then go in next, and then stick in the speech volume leveler. So never ever, if we were to put in here, now let's drag that down one more, and we'll put in a bit of EQ. We'll just use, for example, a default EQ here on the parametric equalizer, the loudness maximizer.
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording. And this is a very loud recording.
Now, if you imagine each one of these effects is happening in the order it is in the chain. So first, that noise gate we've applied to get rid of the fan, which I have recorded into the track. Then the equalizer is being applied to the track after the noise gate. Then the speech volume leveler after the equalizer. Again, we could put in here maybe a bit of modulation and chorus. Now, in this case, I would probably put that. It's not going to make a huge amount of difference, but let's go for a 2-voice chorus, and we'll leave it there after the speech volume leveler.
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording. And this is a very loud recording.
Now, if we were to put that in before the speech volume leveler, that will then be sucked up in that leveling by the speech volume leveler. To drag the effects around, by the way, just click them and drag them to where you want them to be, which is what I've done with that chorus, moved it up into third place. Now, have a listen. It'll be a slight difference here, but because of the order now, you'll get the noise gate, you'll get the equalization, the chorus, and then the leveling, whereas last time we had the leveling and then the chorus.
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording. And this is a very loud recording.
But there you go. Now, if we were to put the speech volume leveler up here, this is going to sound horrendous now because of that fan noise in the background.
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording. And this is a very loud recording.
So you can see that it's very, very important to get these effects in the right order. Okay, you can add as many effects as you want in here, but it's important that they go in the right order. Otherwise, there could be all sorts of problems. Now, obviously, you wouldn't have the problem. As I've said, you would not have the problem. You wouldn't deliberately turn a fan on while you're recording a piece of audio, be it a podcast, be it a voiceover, be it a commercial. You would not have a fan on in the studio, in the recording space, pointing directly at your microphone. It would not happen. But for this example, I have done it deliberately to show you the importance of the effects. Now, that fan was only quiet, so if we turn everything else off here now and just play with the just the noise gate.
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording. And this is a very loud recording.
You can see you've got all the difference there back in the levels, but because the noise gate is on, you cannot hear any of that sound at all. In fact, even if we turn the noise gate off, it's that quiet, you won't hear it.
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording.
Because the fan is that quiet, you can't hear it until you then go through and boost this, which analyzes your audio and drags it up to be as loud as possible. So all three, it does exactly what it says. All three are leveled, speech volume leveler. Because we've got that on now, it's going to drag that up as well by the an increase in amplitude and by compression. And there's that fan noise again. So that's why the order is very, very important. So let's have a little listen.
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording. And this is a very loud recording.
And there they are. They're all very much the same. From there, you could go on to stick in some background music from there. Let's just, we'll drag that across and let's have a little look in here. You could go in and get some, let me have a little look. We will say that we are doing a, shall we? Where are we? Let's go in here and we will have, I mean, I don't know what's what here. May very well be that this is an awful track, but you know, what we could now do is we could look at mixing the music.
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording. And this is a very loud recording.
There you go. So we've added some music now. If we were to take off that speech volume leveler, certainly I don't think you'd hear the first two.
This is a recording at normal volume. This is a quiet recording. And this is a very loud recording.
So there you go. There's the speech volume leveler in action. Just mute off this for a moment and I'll show you the differences in the speech volume leveler. So let's go back. Track 1, take off the chorus just so we're working with
This is a recording at...
So that's just a normal thing now. Now, if we have a little look here and we play with this.
This is a recording at normal volume.
Now, if you have got a little bit of noise in there that you can't quite noise gate out, drop that to, say, 80%.
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording. And this is a very loud recording.
It still does the job, but let's turn off the noise gate and let's have a look at how much noise is sucked up now. Still a bit of noise sucked up there, so let's go back and we'll try 60%. Still a bit of noise, too much noise because that fan was pointing right at the microphone. Now you've got a very, very low amount of leveling going on.
This is a record.
And you can hear.
This is a recording at normal volume.
Nowhere near as much of the sound is getting through at all, the background noise, but still, you wouldn't want that in your recording in the first place. Let's have a look now with the noise gate on.
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording. And this is a very loud recording.
So because we've dropped the leveling amount now, this middle one...
This is a quiet recording.
...is quieter now than it was with a maximum leveling amount of 100%.
And this is a quiet recording.
There you go. You've given it more scope to level with. Again, if you were to boost the dynamic range up now...
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording. And this is a very loud recording.
By boosting the dynamic range ability of the speech volume leveler, you're seeing again that middle one.
And this is a quiet recording.
Is again much quieter. That's dynamic range between the loudest parts and the highest parts. You could drop that down and that will level even more now, the middle one.
And this is a quiet recording.
So if you play it now.
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording. And this is a very loud recording.
So we've used a poor quality recording to show you the importance of getting your effects in the right stage. Let me show you one other thing while we're here. We'll take that window off and we'll go into the Essential Sound window. And this is basically, makes like processing audio easy if you are producing something quickly here. So let's have a little look. Let's just produce a very quick thing here. Track 1, dialogue. Now, we don't need to do anything else with it because we've processed here. Track 1, we have processed here. Track 2 is music. We want to enable the ducking of the music. And you can see there, it ducks the volume so you will be able to hear what I'm saying. You can change that duck amount, but have a listen now.
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording. And this is a very loud recording.
And then the volume comes back up again. You can change the speed of the fades. You can drag that down so the fades are a lot quicker. And you'll see these little dotted lines here change.
And this is a very loud recording.
What you've done by dropping that down is you're saying, okay, when there is speech, duck it down quickly. After there is speech, bring it back up. The original at 800, you can see, because it's got 800 milliseconds fade, it drops it down when it detects the start of the speech, boosts it up when it detects the end, and in the middle here, it is still down. If we change that to 150, you'll see now that by zooming in on this, you'll see here, look, detected speech, dropped it, up, detected speech, down, gap, up, speech, down, done. And that's a much, much quicker fade now.
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording. And this is a very loud recording.
So there you go. That is a very, very basic voiceover. Let's just have a quick, we'll just tidy this up and finish it off. We'll cut that there and we'll take that beat there. End that, and this is how to end a voiceover very, very quickly. What we'll do is we'll go into we want to go into reverb, full reverb. Now this one will take a while because it is a CPU intense effect. Yep, we know that. Great Hall is fine, and then what we can now do is we will click on this lightning bolt here to pre-render this track, which will just take a moment now to do its stuff and render the reverb that it would apply to that. And then what we've done now is we've created a very, very basic voiceover with music. So let's have a little listen. We'll zoom these out again so you can see them and shrink that down so you can see the whole waveform.
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording. And this is a very loud recording.
If you are going to do that, always end it on beat 1. Always, always beat 1. Never beat 4. It'll sound unnatural. So by that, I'm saying that you go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Get that 1 beat and reverb that 1 beat. Not the 4, not the 2, not the 3. And never, always the 1. So there you go. Hopefully that has been helpful for you today. If we go back to track 1, you can see that we have recorded a voiceover here. Let's look at the waveform. We've recorded a voiceover here, which does have noise in it. Effects, amplitude and compression, normalize. There's definitely noise in there, and that is the fan. So we've recorded a voiceover that is of poor quality.
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording.
It sounds okay because it's so quiet in the background, but when we go into the multi-track and we apply that speech volume leveler, and the same would be for a compressor or anything like that, if you have a listen now, because we've got our effects in the correct order, noise gate removes the fan, parametric equalizer improves the audio. You would obviously, you can use the default if you want, but you would sweep through and you would adjust these bands as well to highlight the best parts of your audio.
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording. And this is a very loud recording.
So there you go. That's that done. Just one final thing just to explain to you here. If we drag in this speech volume leveler one more time, it's not just the speech volume leveler, for example. If you were producing, let's say, a demo and you wanted to sound like you were on the radio, a great preset to use here, the multiband compressor on the broadcast format. But
this is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording.
You could never send that off because of that noise. So again, we'll go back here. The dynamics was set at -40. We'll add that on track 5 in slot 1. So it is process first, dynamics of -40. Turn on the auto gate. And then now,
this is a recording.
let me move that along so you don't get the end of that other track. We'll move it along.
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording. And this is a very loud recording.
So there you go. Whatever you're doing, get your effects in the right order. Any restoration that you have to do first, the ideal is that you never have to use a noise gate, but just occasionally you may have to, just because there's like a low background hum or something, you know, and it's not detracting from the actual quality of the audio. Like I've deliberately faced a fan at the microphone to record that. So remember, restoration first, then the improvements, do the equalizing. If you want to add an effect on, such as a chorus or something like that, and then you go in there and you finish it up with a bit of compression, which in our case is the speech volume leveler. Very, very powerful tool, can do many, many good things for you, but it must give it good audio in the first place because it will suck up any background noise. So top tip, record your audio without fans pointing at the microphone. There's one top tip. And another one, if you do have any background noise, make sure you get your effects in the right order. Track 1 here, as I say, dynamics, parametric equalizer. We're not even using the chorus now. We can put that back on, doesn't really matter because it's going to be in the right order. And then that compressor here, speech volume leveler, done.
This is a recording at normal volume. And
there is one other thing that you could do actually after that. And this is even more powerful than the speech volume leveler. Go to the default here. This is a very, very powerful tool for finalizing your audio. Now, you've got reverb. You've got exciter. What that does is that boosts up the high-end frequencies and just makes the audio slightly more, I guess you would call it, well, crisp, really. That's the word you're looking for. Widener, if you have got an effect like the chorus, that will make it perceived even further apart, stereo left and right. Loudness maximizer is your compressor, and that will make it really, really flatlined. Remember when we looked at compression and we played with those different ratios and thresholds, and we got one with a dynamic range and we crunched it right down. This will crunch it right down. And then the output gain is, should you need any output gain, you can either add or subtract there. At this stage, though, if you're just using a little bit of mastering and you've got music in the mix as well, like we have, I wouldn't master the two of them together. What I do, for example, you could add a bit of reverb.
this is a recording at normal volume.
Too much.
And this is
Too much reverb, but you could just add maybe just a touch.
This is a recording at normal volume.
And then again with the exciter, you'll hear here.
This is a recording at normal volume.
You can hear how that really, really makes those top end tones pop out by doing it that way.
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording.
Now, why would I not use the other effects at this point in time? Do you know what? I wasn't going to show you that in this video. I wasn't going to show you. But what we'll do now is we will mix down from here backwards. So we'll select our out point there, mix down the time selection. And this will take just a little while because of the effects. There you go. There is your audio. And we have left a substantial amount of dynamic range in that audio, you can see.
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet.
Now, if you go in here and you apply the mastering effect, we've already done the reverb, we've already done the exciter. The widener is up at, let's go from default, actually. We'll go from default. So we've already done the reverb, we've already done the exciter on the voice. Don't want to reverb or excite the music. The widener, that will, again, make the effect of the chorus even more pronounced. The one that you really want to look at, though, if you are mixing music and voice in this stage, now that you've mixed it all down, would be the loudness maximizer. And just watch what this does. That's on 0, 100%, and you've got a flat line, and that's ultra compressed now.
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording. And this is a very loud recording.
So you don't want to be that high. Definitely don't want to be that high. Just kind of master it out a little bit. There you go. There's just a tiny little bit of mastering. I would say around about 25. There you go.
This is a recording at normal volume.
Now, the only thing you have to do here is remember what you are producing for. It's better to undermaster if you're producing to send this on to a radio station or something. Better to undermaster and let them finalize it, because don't forget, if you're producing for radio, it will go through a huge broadcast compressor, which will virtually level it out altogether. So you don't want to do too much mastering here, because if you over compress the audio, it'll just sound horrible. It really, really will sound horrendous, and nobody's going to use you again because your audio sounds bad. So it's better to undermaster at this stage. If you are producing something for your own YouTube channel, then there are obviously target volumes to hit for YouTube. But if you're producing something for your own YouTube channel, maybe you're producing your own podcast, maybe you're producing for your own internet radio station, where you know then how the processing is going to happen. If you were to do that, and then let's just say just add a little bit, 20%, that's not too drastic.
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording.
But just bear in mind, as I said earlier, if we go back here now, amplitude and compression, multiband compressor, broadcast, and listen to this. This is kind of how it would sound on the radio.
This is a recording at normal volume.
You can hear that sounds very, very compressed now, so maybe we want to master that even less before it goes through that radio compressor.
This is a recording at normal volume. And this is a quiet recording. And this is a very loud recording.
There you go. I've covered more today than I intended to cover, but I have covered what I wanted to cover, which was the important thing of your effects and the order of those in the effects rack. Very, very important. You always remember that. That'll do then for today. As I say, more than I intended to cover. If you have got any questions, head to markdenham.com, use the contact page, and you can fire away with your questions. If you do have any need for anything that I could help you with, again, use the contact page there, be it a voiceover, be it some podcast production, a commercial production, or be it just helpful tips on not pointing your fan at your microphone while recording a voiceover. More than happy to answer. You can find out all the details on markdenham.com. Until the next part of the audio journey, look after yourself and have fun recording and producing.